Folks, so many condo buyers have been misled. I'll get into that and then the latest home prices and insights for condos across the GTA for week ending March 19th, 2025. When I speak with a potential condo seller, when somebody calls me and says, Santo, I'm thinking of selling my condo, what do you think it'll sell for? About a third of all condo sellers did not know their actual square footage. They either didn't know or believe it's larger than it actually is. These are both problems. A lot goes into pricing a condo. Square footage is not the only factor, but it is a very, very important factor when it comes to condos. Also for freehold properties, but condos, it seems square footage is just more important. I'll give you an example. In the same building, there's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and another 2-bedroom, 2-bath. The first 2-bedroom, 2-bath is 700 square feet. The second 2-bedroom, 2-bath is 750 square feet. You will pay, keeping everything else equal, so the same type of view, the same type of layout, keeping everything equal, as often is the case in condos, the second one at 750 square feet should, and in most cases will, sell for more. It's just 50 square feet. It's not that much, but it'll sell for more because cost per square feet is a big factor when it comes to buying and selling condos. It's just how we rate one against the other. Again, I keep saying keeping everything equal. And we see it more and more in the newer type condos because everything kind of is pretty much oftentimes the same when you're comparing similar condos. Here's the problem. When you don't know your square footage, how do you know what you bought? I'll give you an example. If you are buying a condo and you bought believing it's 750 square feet because that's what the listing said, and that's what the listing agent's realtor told your agent, and your agent said, yeah, 750 square feet. The logical thing to do is to look at the other 750 square feet condos that have the same configuration as yours, 2 beds, 2 bath, we'll say, and think, well, that's what they sold for. Hence, that's what makes sense that I pay. But what if that 750 square feet is actually 695 plus another 50 or 60 square feet of balcony? Well, now you're not comparing apples to apples anymore, are you? Your unit is actually 690 square feet. You shouldn't be paying what another unit of interior without a balcony is 750 square feet. But you buy it, you move in, you're there for a few years, everything's great, you like the space, and now you go to sell it. And in your mind, before you call your listing agent, you've done your own research. You've been keeping track of what's been selling in your building. And hey, 750 square feet are selling for X amount of dollars. That's probably what I'm going to get for mine. You call your agent, and I tell you the bad news that, hey, we can't advertise this as 750 square feet. It's actually 695 square feet, which takes you from this price point to this price point. And you say, well, no, it's 750. I show you the builder floor plans. If it's a newer building, it's easy to come up with the builder floor plans, and it'll say 690 square feet plus 50, 60 square feet of the balcony, total is 750, but they usually break it down at some point, but the interior is 695. And you're thinking, but no, that can't be. I'll show you the impact report. and we'll get a third party to measure and actually tell us what the square footage is, also a digital square footage. And you're like scratching your head thinking, but all this time I thought I had 750 square feet. Well, if you include the balcony, you do, but that's not the right way to do it. And that's how it was pitched to you, in a sense, that it's 750 square feet, and nobody ever bothered to properly check when you bought it. So there's a good chance you overpaid. And now that you're going to sell, to protect you, we have to advertise, we should be advertising what's correct, because it could come back to you later that a buyer buys and it's misleading and you're wondering why you're sitting on the market and not selling, because other people did do their research and know that you don't actually have 750 square feet. I'm going round and round this whole square footage because it's really important. It's not everything, but it's really important when you're buying condos. And like I said, a third of people that ask me about selling their condos, a third either don't know their square footage or believe their square footage is larger than what it actually is, which leads to problems. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description is a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, or you can go straight to tsre.ca. That'll take you to my calendar. Pick a time and a date that's good for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Folks, this show is all about condos. At the end of the data, we're going to have on the screen a condo we have listed. It's right in South Etobicoke, great view of the lake. It's a large 1-bedroom plus den. Check out the link that'll be on the screen. Here we go. We're going to be focused on condo apartments for the City of Toronto, York region, Peel region. This is average sold prices for 3 months for each of those areas. We're going to start off with the City of Toronto. For a week ending March 19th, 154 condos were sold. 18 of those were at $1 million or more. I gotta say, normally at this time of the year, sales are trending upwards. That's not the case here. Sales are kind of steady, 154 the previous week, 152, a little higher then, a little lower. But 154 I can't say sales are going one way or the other than pretty steady up at around 150. Average sold price, kind of saying the same thing. Average sold price is $697,000, which is kind of sort of where we've been the last few weeks, although up and down. And if we go back, say, to October, average price has been a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but it kind of all averages out to around 700, high 600s. That's what I'm seeing right now. For those that are interested, 697, that's every condo that's been sold, condo apartment across the City of Toronto. But the 1-bedrooms, 56 sold for an average price of $547. 2-bedroom condos, 89 sold for an average price of $799. And 3-bedroom condos, only 9 sold for an average price of $1,099,000. So 547, say 800, 1.1 million. That's kind of the breakdown of what these condos are costing these days. Compared to last year, 697, it's 4% lower year over year. The median price of 620 is 5% lower. And like I said on the first slide, average price and also median price pretty flat over the last few months. Sales, we have far fewer sales this year than last year. The amount of condos selling at list price or more, 24% of the 154. But sales, again, far fewer sales. Listings, we have far more listings. Active listings, way up there at 5,221 available condo apartments for sale, which represents a 45% increase from where active listing were this time a year ago. Months of inventory climbing. We're now at 7.8 months of inventory. Pretty much a buyer's market, no matter which angle you look at this from. That was the whole city. When we break Toronto down into 9 different sections, and we say the whole city averages to 7.8, we're all over the place here. Scarborough's at 4.9 months of inventory, Rexdale 6.2, Etobicoke 7.1, High Park 6.1. But downtown Toronto, 29 were sold, but there are 1,996, let's just round it to 2,000 active condo apartments available for sale. It's basically 1.5% during the week sold. So out of 100 condos, 1.5 sold. So out of 200 condos, 3 condos sold. Man, you really need to strategically be creative and do things the right way if you want to be one of those 3 out of 200 condos that sell every week. Here's York Region. For week ending March 19th, 32 condos were sold. Although sales are up and down each week, overall, looks like sales are trending up overall. 2 of those sold at $1 million or more. Average sold price, pretty close to where the average sold price was for the city of Toronto, but we're sitting at $694,000. $694 is 3% higher than where we were this time a year ago. The median price is 3% lower. When we look at the dotted line, the 4-week moving average, kind of flat. Average price and median price, pretty flat over the last couple months. Sales, far fewer sales this year versus the same time period a year ago. Listings, far more listings this year versus the same period a year ago. And that's kind of the story across the GTA. Fewer sales, more properties available for sale. And in this case, for York Region condos, active listings. So the amount of condos available for sale is up 76% versus the same week a year ago. 76% increase. Months of inventory sitting at 6.8. Here's Peel Region condos. Sales, 31 were sold. No condo sold at $1 million or more. Sales slowly, I guess, if you maybe trending upwards, perhaps. It's not predominantly trending up, but maybe. Average sold price, $577,000. $577 is 10% lower than this time a year ago. Previous week was 16% lower, 6% lower, 9% lower. Maybe this is a theme we're going to see for the next little while. Median price is 11% lower than the same period a year ago. The dotted line, the last few weeks or so, kind of looks like average price is trending down. Sales, far fewer sales this year versus last year. Listings, more listings. Active listings, which is the real story behind the story here. How many are actually available for sale? We have an 84% increase in condos available for sale across Peel Region. 84% increase versus the same week a year ago. Months of inventory sitting at 7.0 months of inventory. Here's a quick summary. 7.8, 6.8, 7 months of inventory. 5 months or below, we would say, is a balanced market. No matter how you slice it, this is a buyer's market when it comes to condos in these regions that we're speaking about here. Now check out this awesome 1-bedroom plus den with a great view of the lake. The link will be on the screen. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.